In our headlines this morning, oil sector investors in the state advised to ensure they meet necessary regulatory demands. Another group in Oko, Orumba North Council area holds counter-protests, blames bad leadership and marginalization in the community. Federal government begins nationwide monitoring of mining regulations compliance. On the foreign scene, voters in the French Pacific territory of New Caledonia reject secession. Good morning and welcome to the news. My name is Nonye Ngokoye. The Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Petroleum and Other Union Matters, Comrade Peter Ngosu, has advised prospective investors wishing to set up petrol or gas stations within the state to ensure that they secure necessary approvals from the relevant agencies before embarking on the construction of such stations. He gave the advice shortly after inspecting an ongoing construction of a petrol station in Oba, Idemele South local government area, alongside the chairman of the State Physical Planning Board, Mr. Chike Maduekwe. Comrade Ngosu frowned at the attitude of some investors who embark on construction of petrol or gas stations upon receiving the approval of the Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, without recourse to relevant government agencies. This, he said, has made the state government to demolish petrol stations which fall below the safety requirements aimed at protecting the environment and lives of the citizenry from the hazards associated with indiscriminate siting of petrol and gas stations across the state. The chairman of the State Physical Planning Board, who collaborated the statement, reaffirmed that the government will not hesitate to discipline citizens who flout its directives on embarking on some structures without approval. IFAD VCDP's 6th supervision mission commences in Anambra soon. Preparations are in top gear for the IFAD Value Chain Development Program 6th supervision mission to the state. The state program coordinator, IFAD VCDP, Mr. Anambra, announced this during one-day training on basic functions of Water Users Association held at the conference hall of the ADP in Oka. Our agri correspondent, Ebele Eze, covered the training and our report.
According to Mr. Aguncha, the exercise was aimed at assessing the degree of impact of the program on the beneficiaries in the 5 participating council areas. Water Users Associations are state-based farmers who put their financial, technical, material and human resources for the operation and maintenance of water facilities provided for them by the IFAD VCDP. Mr. Aguncha, represented by the irrigation engineer, Engineer Martin Sugochukwu, charged them to ensure rational and economic water use, reduce non-productive losses, prevent soil and water logging, and most importantly, control soil erosion. He appealed to them to ensure that all the facilities in the 5 participating council areas are working effectively under conducive environment to pave way for more approvals for projects during the mission.
Been done long before now. Due to one reason or the other, we are starting it late, but it's better to be late than never. So it's a very serious training because we have seen a lot of things in some of these infrastructure that have been provided, especially in our boreholes.
The IFAD VCDP liaison officer for Anambra West Council area, Mr. Rufus Imoka, who said the borehole that was sunk by IFAD VCDP in Umezanam was submerged by the receding flood, announced that they have commenced revitalization process through flushing of the pipes, assuring that it will soon be functional again.
Anambra West has faced with the restriction of flood. This kind of flood came in 2012. So unexpectedly, the flood repeated this year. But in fact, it caused a lot of damage. In that water borehole close, though the water borehole was submerged.
In a paper titled Management of Group Enterprises, a resource person, Mr. Joseph Onoa, asked them to take full ownership of the facilities and see to their general operations and regular maintenance of all the facilities cited in their communities. Some of the participants, including the chairman of Mbaku Water Users Association, Mr. Chukwu Aloka Onwuzulebo, and the treasurer of Ufma Water Users Association, Mrs. Helen Edonna, in their separate speeches testified that the water facility have helped in nipping to the bud scarcity of potable water, while the proceeds from it serve as loan to members and non-members.
At least for the next 10-20 years,
in Oka, Ebele Eze reporting for ABS News.
Now, the Dean, Faculty of Clinical Sciences, University of Ibadan, Professor Muyiwa Owolabi says stroke is the second highest killer disease in the world. Professor Muyiwa made the disclosure at the 4th Stroke Risk Assessment Symposium organized by the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Health in collaboration with Stroke Investigative Research Network and Blossom Center for Neuro-Rehabilitation at Aguleri, Anambra East local government area. Chibuzo Okoye has details.
Delivering a lecture during the event, Professor Moyewa, represented by Dr. Kinsley Nwankwo from the Stroke Council Nigeria, said that high blood pressure, too much intake of alcohol and salt, stress, obesity, depression, among others, can lead to stroke, and advised that people must avoid all the risk factors that can lead to stroke. The university don who revealed that statistics have shown that 1 in every adult above the age of 25 years is hypertensive, harped on the need for regular checkup, eating of balanced diet, as well as regular exercise to run away from risk factors of stroke, and noted that stroke, if detected early, could be managed.
High blood pressure, high sugar, and diabetes. You know, abnormal cholesterol called dyslipidemia. If you can say that, okay, man, other exercise. We are doing the stroke. And stroke
the senior special assistant to the governor on health, Kate Edozie, in a welcome address explained that the symposium was equally organized to mark the 5th anniversary of the United Anambra Youth Assembly and Ebele Chukwu Obiano Ladies Movement. She noted that a health risk assessment is a powerful screening tool, which is often the first step to any medical diagnosis, implemented in order to gain a clear understanding of the population's health status and risks, so that those risk assessments can motivate the individual to identify point of risk exposure and adopt healthier lifestyle.
What is happening here today is the first stroke risk assessment symposium in Nigeria, where there is massive screening of people for risk factors.
In a goodwill message, a former special advisor to the governor on political matters, who is the founder of the United Anambra Youth Assembly, as well as the general overseer of the Ebele Chukwu Obiano Ladies Movement, Chief Chinedu Obidigwe, called on the citizenry to take good care of their health at all times, as there is no alternative to a sound body and soul.
On several occasions, on a daily basis, people do call me. We are at the hospital, we are this, my husband, dad, myself, my wife, and the other about. It wasn't easy for me. So I think taking this part will help to ameliorate the sufferings I'm going through.
Participants at the symposium underwent free stroke checks and counseling. The first Stroke Risk Assessment Symposium, in commemoration of the World Stroke Day, has its theme as Sustaining Good Health and Well-being, Sustainable Development Goal 3, by creating awareness on stroke. From Aguleri in Anambra East local government area, it's been Chibuzo Okoye for ABS News.
Mixed reaction have continued to thrill the sand excavation at the Obodo River Beach in Orumba North local government area. The excavation, which led to a protest by the women of Oko community a few days ago, met with a counter-peaceful demonstration by the people of Ihengu village in Oko community. Correspondent Valentine Mbadoga reports.
While speaking during the demonstration within Oko and environs, the chairman of Ihengu village, Oko, Mr. Peter Okoli, described the people of Ihengu as peace-loving and progress-minded. He noted that the action taken by the President General and woman leader of the community against the village was a smokescreen aimed at diverting attention from the main issue. Mr. Okoli narrowed the problem to bad leadership and neglect of certain sections of the community, regretting that their village is on the verge of total collapse as most of the roads are no longer accessible. He then called on government to come into the matter to get it solved once and for all, suggesting dialogue as the best option.
No, onwe ife ha na agitate ha na complain ka anyị nọdụ n'ofu ogologo oche nke a na-akpọ dialogue ka enwee dialogue ka ekwuo ife dị otu a anyị ekwuo our own part na ebe esi emegide anyị eme ya address udo adị n'oko.
Contributing, the youth leader of Ihengu village, Mr. Arinze Anyalobu, assured of full compliance to the resolution on the sand excavation in the area, noting that the interest of the people is their greatest concern. Mr. Anyalobu encouraged all indigenes of Oko to remain patriotic for the development of Oko and Orumba North local government area at large.
Anyị mechiri ikpe aja for 3 good years ka e wee lụọla anyị mbuze emelo ya and mbuze na-agba ma be anyị na obodo dị iche iche na-ekpo dị aja ama ọkpara na-ekpe aja na nka na-ekpe aja ọbụ na-ekpe aja ndị ike na-ekpe aja anyị na-ayọ ọbụ na achọrọ imechi esi na aja na-agba mbuze si mechie nta ha Olumba North ebe niile a na-ekpe aja onye ọbụla na onwere onye dị against that na ihe anyị dị against bụ kedu ka ị ga-esi mechie ebe anyị be ndị ọzọ a na-alụ ọrụ ọ kwụsịrị mbuze.
From Oko in Orumba North local government area, Valentine Mbaduwa reporting for ABS News.
You're watching ABS Television News. Up ahead, mining and laws and regulations under focus. That and more stories will be coming after this short break. Join us again.
Kitty's Avenue is a better place to be. You don't want to miss all the goodies. So stay with us. Come join us as we educate, as we entertain, as we celebrate, and give information. As a church, I have a right to life, I have a right to live, I have a right to good health, right to speak and be heard. It's happening here.
Catch Kitty's Avenue on ABS Channel 24 or on Star Times Channel 113 every Wednesdays 3:30 p.m. and 2 o'clock p.m. on Saturdays.
Avenue is a better place to be. You don't want to miss all the goodies. So stay with us.
The Ministry of Mines and Steel Development says it has commenced nationwide environmental monitoring to ensure mining title holders comply with mining laws and regulations. Mr. Salim Salam, the Director of Mines Environmental Compliance Department of the ministry, told newsmen yesterday in Abuja that a program would be conducted in the 6 geopolitical zones of the nation. He said that the states selected from the 6 political zones included Edo, Cross River, Oyo, Ebonyi, Nasarawa, Benue, Kogi, Kaduna, Zamfara, and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. The director said that some teams from the department had visited 6 sites in Ogun and 6 others in Edo, adding that samples were taken from all the sites for analysis. He added that the program, which started in October, would be completed by middle of December. Salam said the essence of the program was to monitor mining title holders in those states to ensure that their mining activities did not pose environmental, social, and health hazards to the host communities and workers. A resident priest at St. Patrick's Cathedral, Awka, Monsignor Professor John Paul Nzamewu, says that the most pleasing thing God expects from Christians is love. Monsignor Nzamewu stated this during a mass where he explained that Christ is love and that it is important for every Christian to embrace his directives and commandments. Amaka Chibuzo Okoye has reported.
Reiterated that all should love God with their hearts, soul, and mind, as well as love their neighbor. Monsignor Zomiwu reminded Christians that God sent his only begotten Son to die for their sins, adding that all should be committed to the service of God. The priest stated that when they love and run the race of Christ, he will do all things and bless them beyond imagination, stating that those who live according to their will regret at last. At the Anglican Church of the Holy Spirit, Oka, the vicar, Reverend Canon Dr. Res Kanu, drew his sermon from a title, Prayer Changes Situations, and said prayer is very important to the life of every Christian because they communicate to God through it. Reverend Canon Dr. Kanu maintained that all requests and petitions directed to God with pure hearts receives answer immediately, as God is merciful and compassionate. Also at the Christ Holy Church International, Oka, the priest, Reverend Kajetan Onyaka, hinted that everyone is expected to go back to the Word of God and stand on it as God remains unchangeable. Amaka Chibuzo Okoye, ABS News.
Voters in the French Pacific territory of New Caledonia have rejected a bid for independence, partial results say. With almost all votes counted, 56.8% chose to remain part of France. Turnout is about 80%. The vote was promised by a 1988 deal that put an end to a violent campaign for independence. President Emmanuel Macron said it showed confidence in the French Republic. New Caledonia has large deposits of nickel, a vital component in manufacturing electronics. It is seen by France as a strategic political and economic asset in the region. The New Caledonia referendum is the climax of 20 years of peace. About 175,000 people were eligible to vote in the territory east of the Australia, where indigenous Kanaks make up 39.1% of the population. French nationalism is strong among the territory's ethnic Europeans, constituting 27.1% of the population. And observers say even some Kanaks back staying part of France. The remaining third of the population of New Caledonia's 268 inhabitants are also largely said to oppose independence. Now in sports, Wayne Rooney is set to come out of international retirement to make a farewell appearance for England against the United States later this month. The 33-year-old England's record goal scorer with 53 has not played for the Three Lions since a 3-0 victory over Scotland in November 2016. But Rooney, who plays for DC United, is expected to earn his 120th cap in the friendly at Wembley on 15th November. The game will raise funds for the Wayne Rooney Foundation. The Wembley Arc will be lit up in the gold colors of Rooney's charity. After moving to the United States in July, Rooney scored 12 goals to guide DC United from the bottom of the Major League Soccer table into the playoffs. But the former Manchester United and Everton forward missed the penalty in a shootout as his side were knocked out in the first round. Remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging on to our website, www.absradiotv.com. Like us at www.facebook.com/absradiotelevision. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. Now, the main points of the news once again. Oil sector investors in the state have been advised to ensure they meet necessary regulatory demands. Another group in Oko Orumba North Council area has held counter-protest, blames bad leadership and marginalization in the community. Federal government has begun nationwide monitoring on mining regulations compliance. And from the foreign scene, we brought you a report that voters in French Pacific territory of New Caledonia have rejected secession. And that's the news for this morning. Thanks so much for your time. My name is Nonya Mokoye. Good morning, Anambra continues. Join us.